Today we'll see some more ideas about phase diagrams. Again, before going, I'll just remind about where we are. When we say phases, this is what we mean. Take a sample, take a component in engineering service or something, have a small part cut like this, polish it, observe it under microscope. These are the kind of things that you will see. We'll take this one. So there are two phases in equilibrium, bright and dark phase. For example, this can be alpha and beta in certain alloy system. And this is observed under fixed temperature. This can be the system, binary system AB. For example, it can be copper and silver. The components. Composition can be the overall composition. This is one parameter. Like this entire thing has one average composition throughout. So that is called overall composition. Okay. Can be something like this: 50 weight percent of A and 50 weight percent of B, like 50 weight percent of copper and 50 weight percent of silver. Then two phases are in equilibrium. This is what we observe at this temperature and this composition. This is what we observe. Then we can say amount of each phase, which is another parameter. For example, alpha is 50 weight percent and beta is 50 weight percent. And if we say two phases and each of them have certain amount, each of them can have separate composition. Okay, that is individual phase composition. For example, this alpha can have something like 75 weight% of A and 25 weight% of B. And beta can have 25 weight% of A and 75 weight% of B. It need not be like this, but this is just an example. And then the information like morphology. Morphology is to do with the shape of these different phases. In this case, they are quite irregular, but they're not like needles. They're not like spheroids or something. They have some certain irregular kind of shape. This is another information. And there can be defect structures inside. It can be macroscopic, like pores. In this particular picture, there is no pore. And it can be some kind of inclusion from outside. And it can be a lattice defect. This is much more atomistic. So when we have a grain, we know that inside grain we have trillions of atoms sitting in a particular crystalline structure, and there can be defects in that structure. But it's difficult to observe this kind of lattice defects, especially there are something called line defects. It is not easy to observe them under this kind of optical microscope picture. We need to go for higher resolution or higher power microscopes for that. So in this, how phase diagrams are useful. That is our aim for this lecture. Okay. So now the temperature which is fixed is one information which can be an input in phase diagram. And the overall composition is another input. So these are the things that we need to know before using a phase diagram. Now this information can be taken out of phase diagram. When you know your temperature and overall composition, how many phases are going to be in equilibrium and what are those phases, alpha and beta kind of phases, that information can be available from phase diagram. And then the amount of each phase, individual phase compositions, this information can be obtained from phase diagram. But morphology and defects, these things cannot be obtained from phase diagram. This is one simple phase diagram, isomorphous diagram. So we have a liquid here and a solid here, and in between liquid and solid we have this two phase region where liquid and solid coexist. Okay, we have this y axis of temperature and x axis of composition. I did not label it, it's okay. So the input here is overall average composition, which is this one, and the temperature, which is this one, and the output is what phases. Let's say at this point we have two phases, L and alpha. When the number of phases are more than one, we can get some more information, that is composition of each phase. We know that two phases are going to be in equilibrium at this point. What is the composition of individual phases? That can be obtained from phase diagram. And the amount of each phase, like how much of L and how much of alpha, when that can be figured out from phase diagram. Now first we will see about how to get the composition of each phase. Let us again go for the overall composition, a line like this, and for the temperature we'll go for a slightly different line. So this is the temperature at which we are going to find out the composition of phases. So the line here, this is called a tie line. This is drawn inside a two-phase field. Please remember that. It will be a blunder to draw a tie line in a single phase field. Okay, so a tie line is drawn inside a two-phase region. Now, what does this line say? It shows some value in the x-axis, right? This is the composition of liquid. Okay, this line where it touches this line, this is basically the liquidous line. Beyond this point there is single phase liquid, so this is where it is touching the liquid. Okay, tie line is touching the liquid here. Just drop that line down, see what is the composition there, what is the x-axis value there. That is the composition of a liquid. Some percentage of A and some percentage of B will be the answer. Similarly, this line here is going to give us what is the composition of alpha, the solid here. So now instead of this overall composition, let's go for a slightly different overall composition. In this case, what will be the composition of each phase? Both for liquid and solid, these two lines are not changing. What does it mean? It means even if the overall composition changes within this range, the composition of each phase is not going to change. That's the meaning of it. If it moves all through this range, for this entire composition range, there are only two fixed composition for the individual phases which are in equilibrium. So when temperature is fixed, which is this temperature, composition of phases is fixed. So each phase has a certain composition which is fixed. Irrespective of the overall composition, the composition of individual phases is fixed. And the vice versa is also true. When the composition of individual phases is fixed, temperature is also fixed. You cannot have this composition of alpha and this composition of liquid in equilibrium at a temperature which is other than this point. So it has to be this temperature. Now we'll go about finding out the amount of each phase. This example would be better. Again, the same diagram, only this particular small part is zoomed, which is here. So this is the overall composition line that is marked as Z. This point is marked as Z, and the composition is 73% of copper. This is taken in nickel copper system as an example. So copper is 73%, remaining 27% is nickel. That is the overall composition. Okay, so now we have this tie line here, and the endpoints are marked as M and N. Okay, so if we want to figure out what is the composition of each phase, for the liquid side, just drop it down. This 78% copper is the liquid's composition, and this point, if you drop, 62% copper is the solid's composition. So it is labeled like that. X actually means the composition is sometimes mentioned using X, sometimes mentioned using C. So only copper amount can be given. The remaining value, 100 minus this value, is your nickel content. So copper content in solid is this, which means this is the composition of solid or alpha. So here X copper of L is given, that is the liquid. Okay, so the composition of liquid and composition of solid are marked. Overall composition is marked here, which is 73%. That is denoted as X naught of copper. Okay, this is the overall composition. Now there are some more things. There are three lengths marked here. One is this length, this entire length, which is labeled as L, and the length from this left extreme to the overall composition line, which is marked as A, and there is B. Okay, so what are these three different lines? They are going to be used by us for figuring out what is the amount of each phase. So now this is how weight fraction of solid is calculated. Weight fraction of solid is nothing but amount of solid in terms of weight fraction. So here The composition of liquid minus average composition divided by composition of liquid minus composition of solid. Okay, so if you do this, that is where you get the weight fraction of solid, which is basically xl of copper, which is this point, xl of copper minus x naught of copper, which is this point. So the distance between these two is basically this b. Okay, so b is in the numerator, divided by xl of copper, which is this point, minus xs of copper, which is this point. The distance between these two, x copper minus x copper L minus x copper S, is this entire length L. So if you take this small length b divided by this big length L, you are going to get the amount of solid, weight fraction of solid. Okay, so you know this, solid is in this side, liquid is in this side. Okay, to know what is the amount of solid, you have to take this opposite length to solid divided by overall length. Okay, so if I do that, 78 minus 73, which is this point minus this point, which will be like 5, 78 minus 73, divided by 78 minus 62, which is this entire length, 78 minus 62. So that will be 16. So that 5 by 16 is going to be a fraction because the denominator is higher than the numerator. So you're going to get a fraction. This is the weight fraction of solid. Similarly, if you want to figure out the amount of liquid, what we need to do is, this is the liquid side, this length is opposite to that, right? So take A divided by L. So this is our weight fraction of liquid. So that's what is denoted here in terms of composition of each phase and the overall composition. So if you do this, you are going to get this 73 minus 62 in the numerator divided by 78 minus 62, the entire length, that is the denominator. So that is going to be 100 minus whatever, or 1 minus whatever the amount of solid. When we talk in terms of percentage, we can say 100 minus, but since we are talking in terms of fraction, it is going to be a fraction here. 1 minus that fraction is going to be the amount of liquid. So since two phases are in equilibrium, this is fine. 1 minus k will be the answer. Okay. So this is how you figure out what is the amount of each phase in a two-phase mixture. Okay, when two phases are in equilibrium, we can figure out individual phase composition from phase diagram and the amount of each phase from phase diagram. Some more information is like the solubility. So you know about solubility, we talked in the previous lecture, where the sugar content in the liquid can go up to only certain extent and it cannot go beyond. So that is the solubility limit, which is basically denoted by this line here. Okay, at different temperatures, the amount of solute that can be dissolved in the solvent, amount of B that can be dissolved in A, is going to change like this. Okay, that's what is indicated by this line. And then there is transformation nature. We have seen in the sugar and water case that the more sugar is added, I mean beyond the solubility limit, it's going to precipitate out. And when you have a supersaturated solution, then sugar is going to precipitate out. The moment we say supersaturation, it means something is not stable, so something has to happen for that to reach equilibrium. So that will be the precipitation process there. Okay, so precipitation is one type of transformation. So like that, there are different types like reactions. We will see about reactions in a future video. So these are the other things that we can get from phase diagram, like solubility and the transformation nature. Thank you.